As you guys know, Colorado has legalized marijuana, not just for medicinal use, but also recreational use. So what they wanted to look at was the first quarter of the year. And this is according to government data. What they found was that crime, both violent crime and petty crime, actually has decreased in Denver specifically since they legalized marijuana. Now, I should be totally clear with you guys. Recreational marijuana became legal, or you could get recreational marijuana legally in Colorado starting January of this year. So it's just based on the first quarter of 2014. And there are limitations to this. But nonetheless, this proves to you that legalizing marijuana isn't going to lead to an uptick in crime. So let me give you some numbers. Countywide murder has actually dropped by 52.9% since recreational marijuana use was legalized in January. And they're comparing that from the first quarter of this year to the first quarter of last year. And if you look at the numbers specifically, it's not that much of a change. So for instance, last year there were about 17 murders. And then this year, the first quarter of this year, there were about 8. So if you look at the specific numbers, it's not that much of a difference, but it still goes to the argument that, hey, legalizing marijuana is not actually going to lead to more violent crime. Now look at sexual assault. You see the same thing. There is a 13.6% drop in sexual assault, a 4.8% drop in robbery, a 3.7% drop in aggravated assault. Even if you look at property crimes, you see a similar situation happening. Now when it comes to larceny, it doesn't seem like there was a drop, but there's a drop in everything else.
Probably people stealing other people's weed.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Ooh, weed.
So, this shows you a correlation, okay? So there obviously needs to be a study done with controls to figure out whether or not there's actually causation there. But nonetheless, I mean, it kind of flies in the face of all those crazy ass people who are saying, if you legalize marijuana, oh my God, the world is gonna explode and we can't do it.
Yeah, and look, this is a good case study of a quarter of a year in one city. I am a scientist at heart. I think that we should nationwide have an experiment for 1 decade where we legalize it everywhere and we check it out. We tried that experiment with prohibition on the opposite side, outlawing alcohol. Didn't work out, but it took a national experiment for us to know what effect it would have. Let's do that. I mean, and also let's not pretend that Denver's the first place that's had legalized marijuana. There have been European countries that have shown that not only does it not lead to an uptick in crime, but it actually in many cases leads to lower rates of use of those same drugs. And so I'm sort of a natural contrarian when it comes to data. When I see data like this, I want to question it. And it is, look, if 17 murders happened during the same time period in 2013 and 8 this year, one drive-by shooting could throw those numbers off totally.
Yeah.
So we need more data. We're going to get more data over the course of the rest of this year, and as more cities continue to legalize it, and then we can draw conclusions from that. And at the end of the day, this is exactly why conservatives and media like Fox News don't want it legalized, because they don't want you to see the actual effect in the real world, which they know doesn't support their bullshit ideology.
Yeah, and they're poor corporate prisons. They're going to go under. They can't have that happen. In March 2014 alone, taxed and legal recreational marijuana sales generated roughly 19 million, up from 14 million in February. Legal cannabis sales are projected to reach up to 2.57 billion nationwide this year. The Colorado State Legislature has expressed plans to spend 33 million of these funds on school nurses and public education around marijuana. So, hey, you know what? You tax it and you use that money for causes that are important.
By the way, I love the back-to-back stories you just presented, where in one case in Mendocino County, they had this weird abuse of the justice system to get people to eliminate their drug penalties, and they made $4 million. If you just legalize it and sell it, you make 4 or 5 times as much in Denver. I imagine in LA and the rest of California, you could make far, far more than that if you were to legalize it.
Definitely. Look, there's a demand for it. Puff, puff, pass. That's what you should do.